Chapter 14, I-stem nouns. Chapter 14 covers the following: the formation of third declension I-stem nouns, those uses of the ablative which correspond with English with, means, manner, and accompaniment, and at the end of the lesson we'll review the vocabulary which you should memorize in this chapter. There are three important rules to remember in this chapter. Rule 1. There are three types of third declension I-stem nouns. The first is parasyllabic, in which a noun with the nominative singular ending in is or es has a genitive singular with the same number of syllables. The second is monosyllabic, in which the nominative singular has one syllable and two consonants at the end of its base. And the third type of I-stem includes neuter nouns with nominative singular forms ending in eal or ar. Rule 2. All I-stem nouns have an extra I in the genitive plural, producing an ending ium. Neuters also have I in the ablative singular and ia in the nominative and accusative plural. Rule 3. English with corresponds with three uses of the ablative. 1. The ablative of means, which requires no preposition in Latin. 2. The ablative of manner, which can use cum or no preposition. And 3. The ablative of accompaniment, which uses cum always. First, before we start this chapter, let me congratulate you. You've gotten over the first major hurdle in Latin. If you're still with us, and you've gone through the demonstrative and personal pronouns, through the 6 tenses of Latin verbs, you've covered a great deal of formation and grammar, and you're well on your way to learning Latin. Now, Mr. Wheelock gives you a bit of a reward for all your hard work. The next 3 chapters are really relatively easy. They incorporate things or subcategories of things we've already learned. And so you can take a little bit of a breather. Not a rest, really, but a relief from the continual barrage of new forms raining down fire on your little minds. As Latin takes a pause to reload its syntactic artillery, we'll use the time to review forms and make sure that your cerebral walls are ready for the next assault, which will come in Chapter 17. Third declension I-stem nouns. I-stem nouns are a subcategory of third declension nouns. The differences between regular third declension and I-stem third declension nouns are relatively minor. In most cases, just an additional I. Only in one form does the I displace the original third declension ending E and replace it with an I. Here is the regular formation of third declension masculine and feminine nouns. I'm sure you remember it. If you don't, please don't tell me. Instead, allow me to live under the delusion that my professional life has not been a total waste. So now look at the I-stem variant of those same endings. There's one difference. In the genitive plural, the ending is ium, not um. That's the sum total difference between regular and third declension masculine and feminine I-stem nouns. So the only sticky wicket here at all is figuring out which masculine and feminine third declension nouns are I-stem. Those break down into 2 categories. One is parasyllabic nouns, in which the nominative singular ends in is or es, and the genitive singular has the same number of syllables as the nominative. For example, kiwis kiwis, or moles molis. The other category is called monosyllabic. Here, the nominative singular has one syllable, and the base ends in 2 consonants. Examples are mons montis and ars artis. So, if a noun is third declension, and the nominative and genitive have the same number of syllables, and the nominative singular ends in is or es, Or, the nominative has one syllable and the base ends with two consonants, the genitive plural will be ium, not um. That's the only difference. In masculine and feminine nouns, neuter nouns exhibit a few more differences. Here is a chart reminding you about the regular formation of neuter third declension nouns, and here are the changes that are effected when a third declension neuter noun is I-stem. You can see that not only is the genitive plural changed to ium, but there is an I replacing the E in the ablative singular, and the nominative and accusative plurals are IA. In exchange for that slight increase in complexity of formation, identifying third declension I-stem neuter nouns is much easier than masculine and feminine ones. There are three nominative singular endings which identify whether a third declension noun is I-stem or not. If the nominative singular ends in E, AL, or AR, the neuter noun is I-stem. It's that simple. So, for example, mare, maris, the Latin word for sea, as in ocean, is I-stem, meaning that its ablative singular will be mari, its neuter nominative and accusative plural will be maria, and its genitive plural will be marium. Another example is animal, animalis, meaning animal. Its ablative singular will be animali, its nominative and accusative plural, animalia, and its genitive plural, animalium. And third, exemplar, exemplaris, meaning example, will have exemplari, exemplaria, and exemplarium as its I-stem forms. One third declension I-stem noun is worth taking a special look at. It's vis, vis, feminine, meaning force, power, or violence. It's irregular inasmuch as its accusative singular is vim, and its ablative singular is vi, a form that shows up often in classical Latin meaning through force of violence. The genitive singular vis and dative singular vi are attested only rarely. And finally, the plural uses a different base, not v, but vir, producing vires, virium, remember it's I-stem, viribus, vires, viribus. Like animi and mores, the plural has a singular sense, strength. Be careful not to confuse this third declension I-stem noun vis, and especially its plural vires, with the second declension masculine noun vir, meaning man. Please note, there are no overlapping forms, but a few of them are close to the same. Virium, of strength, the genitive plural of vis, looks a lot like virum, the accusative singular of vir meaning man. Also, vires, the nominative and accusative plural of vis, looks a great deal like viros or viris, the accusative plural and dative and ablative plural of vir. To end the grammar in this chapter, Mr. Wheelock discusses three uses of the Latin ablative case which correspond with the English preposition with. The first of them is the ablative of means, which uses no preposition and shows the tool or instrument used to perform some action. For instance, with a sword, with a rake, with his hands. Here are some examples in Latin. Labore, by means of work, or with labor. Armis, literally, by means of arms, meaning with weapons. Via, by means of the road, that is, by using the path. Notice in all three instances, Latin does not use a preposition equivalent to English with. The second use of the ablative is the ablative of manner, which most often uses the preposition cum. It shows how something happened, with honor, with speed, with humor, the prepositional phrase being equivalent to an adverb. So, for example, cum ratione means with reason, that is, reasonably. Or cum sapientia means with wisdom, that is, wisely. Or cum animis means with courage, that is, bravely. The ablative of manner in its simple form uses the preposition cum if the object of cum has no adjective attached to it. If there is an adjective, cum can be omitted. For example, magna cum libertate, with great freedom. The cum could be omitted and the phrase would mean the same thing, but only if magna or another adjective is present. If not, the cum is required. Notice also that the ablative of manner is equivalent to an adverb, so this could also be loosely translated very freely. Another example of the ablative of manner is magna cum laude, or magna laude, meaning with great praise. It also has an adverbial sense, very admirably. The third use of the ablative Mr. Wheelock discusses is the ablative of accompaniment, which must always have cum. It shows who also participated in some activity, thus is best translated in English as along or together with. Here are 3 Latin examples of the ablative of accompaniment. Cum puellis, meaning together with the girls. Or cum cicerone, with Cicero. Or cum isto malo, with that bad man. Besides their formation, it's often easy to tell the difference among these 3 uses of the ablative by looking at the type of noun used as the object of cum, if there is a cum. A noun used in the ablative of means is almost always an instrument or vehicle of some kind. A sword, a pen, a ship, a wagon, or a horse. A noun used as an ablative of manner almost has to be abstract, such as goodness, speed, emphasis, clarity. And a noun used as an ablative of accompaniment is almost always a person or personage of some sort. A friend, an army, gods, or anything personified. And that's the end of the grammar for this chapter. Now let's look at the vocabulary. The first word is ars artis feminine. It means art or skill, and it's a third declension, I stem feminine noun. 3I is the abbreviation for third declension I stem. Let's see if you've been listening. If it's I stem, what is its genitive plural? May the gods bless all of you who said artium. The next word is civis, masculine or feminine. It means citizen, and it's also third declension I stem. Be careful not to confuse this word with the word we've already had, civitatis, which means state. Civitas is actually a compound of civis, making it literally a collection of citizens, cives. What would be the ablative singular of this word? That's right, cive, with an E. Masculine and feminine I stems add an extra I only in the genitive plural. No other form is affected. Next word, jus juris neuter. It means right or law, and it's third declension neuter. Jus means, according to the Latin linguist L.R. Palmer, a religious formula with the force of law. It's used in expressions like jus necis vitaeque, meaning the power of life and death. The translation right is thus a little bit righter than the translation law. What would be the accusative plural of this word? Remember, it's neuter. But is it I stem? No, it's not. Its nominative singular doesn't end E-A-L or A-R. So the right answer is Jura. The next word is mare maris neuter. It means sea, as in large body of non-potable water. And its third declension I stem neuter. Its nominative singular does end E. So, what would be the ablative singular of this word? Good for you, Marie. The next word is mors mortis feminine, meaning death. Is it I stem? It is. It's monosyllabic, mors, and it has two consonants, R and T, at the end of its base. Therefore, it is I stem. Be careful not to confuse this word with another word we've already had, mos moris masculine, which means habit or in the plural character. The base of the word for death has a T at the end of it. What would be the genitive plural of this word? Yeah, come on. This is what we've been studying. Yes, of course. Mortium. The next word is pars partis feminine, meaning part, share, or direction. Is it third declension I stem, like mors mortis? Of course it is. It's got one syllable in the nominative singular, and the base ends in RT, two consonants. It derives its meaning direction from the Romans' use of this word to indicate a part of the compass, that is, north, east, south, or west. It can also mean some, or a portion, as in pars civium, literally part of the citizens, meaning some of the citizens. The next word is sententia sententiae feminine. It means feeling, thought, or opinion. It's first declension feminine. From its sense thought, it came to mean a complete thought, and thus a full grammatical unit, and from this we get our word sentence. The next word is urbs urbis, feminine, meaning city. Is it I stem? Why, yes it is. Yet again, it's another monosyllabic. And what's its genitive plural then? That's right, you've got it. Urbium. It might help you remember the gender of this word, feminine, if you recognize that many geographical place names in Latin are also feminine in gender. For instance, Roma, the city of Rome, or Graecia, the land of Greece. We've already discussed the next word, vis feminine, meaning force, power, or violence, which is yet another third declension I stem feminine noun. The important thing to remember here is not only its irregular formation, but that in the plural it means strength. The next word is a verb, and a very important one. Gero, gerere, gessi, gestum, meaning carry, carry on, manage, conduct, or accomplish. Its third conjugation. The basic meaning of this verb is to make something go. In the same way we say in English run, but not run as in run on your feet, but run as in run a machine or run an organization. We also use our verb do in the same sense when we say do a job or do your business. Or, in slang, do time, do your hair, do a meeting. In all these idioms, the sense is to make whatever the direct object is, do what it's supposed to do. Make it go. So the direct object becomes critical in translating this verb, because it dictates the sense of gero as it makes whatever the direct object is, do what it's supposed to do. For instance, bellum. War. Doing war to the Romans was not preventing it, forestalling it, or avoiding it, but waging it. So, gerere bellum means to wage war. So let's see if you can guess the meaning of gero when it's associated with different direct objects. First, vestem gerere. Vestem means clothing. What do you think do clothing meant to a Roman? That's right, wear it. Next, personam gerere. Persona means a role in a play. So what is doing a role in a play? Of course, it's performing it or playing it. Next, eros gerere. You know the word ira? It means anger. So what is doing angers? Obviously, to become angry. Eros is plural because literally it means to do fits of anger. The Romans were very literal. After all, whoever has just one fit of anger? Finally, se gerere, to do yourself. No, it does not mean that. It means to conduct oneself, to behave. It's an idiom evidently you need to learn, and it's definitely going to be on the test. Next word, teneo tenere, tenui tentum, meaning hold, keep, possess, or restrain. It's a second conjugation verb. We've had another verb that means hold, habeo, but its sense is more abstract than teneo, which means really to grasp, to hold in your hand, not merely possess. Think tentacles, little graspers, literally. The next word, trans, is a preposition, and it takes an accusative object. So how would Latin say, across the sea? Remember, the word for sea is neuter. And neuter nominatives and accusatives are always what? If you said transmare, good for you. Show off. The last two items on this vocabulary list are verbs, both very important ones too. Yes, Latin does in fact have unimportant verbs, and when we get to one, I'll let you know. The first of this final verb pair is curo, curere, cucuri, cursum, meaning run. It's a third conjugation verb. Note it's perfect active. Cucuri, it reduplicates. So, how would Latin say, he will run? Well, you wouldn't use the perfect, would you? So you'd use the present base, but how do you form the future in third conjugation? I know it's something evil. What is it? Evil. Evil! It's an E. That's right. It would be correct. Congratulations, stud. You got it right. Now put your hand down. And the final word in this interminable vocabulary list is traho, trahere, traxi, tractum, meaning draw or drag. It's third conjugation. Can't remember what this verb means? Ask yourself, what do tractors do? They drag things, of course. Or what about the tractor beam on Star Trek? Drag long and prosper. So how would Latin say, I will drag? Oh, he's asking me about third conjugation future again. I hate this, man. Okay, well, let me think about this a second. It's got to be E. No, wait, it's not E. Not in the first person singular. It's A. Aha, I know. It's traham, sir. Well, congratulations. And this trip is over. In behalf of the captain and the crew, I'd like to thank you again for flying Air Roma. As we prepare for landing, please be certain all the rules for this chapter are in their original upright position. If not, please go back and refasten your declensions. If so, please check that all your electronic Latin conjugational devices are off and secure at this time. When we land, one of our helpful agents will be at the gate to make certain you've printed out a copy of the practice and review sentences from Chapter 14 on page 68 of Mr. Wheelock's text. Pro aer Roma, gratias vobis ago, praecipue omnibus vobis saepe volantibus.